just kind of an aside thing. If you had to pinpoint roughly, many people think that the calendar, the Gregorian calendar, am I saying that right, buddy?
Gregorian,
Yeah.
after Gregory.
Yeah, that we go by. Begins at 0 because that's the year of Jesus' birth. That's not so. If you had to pinpoint within a year or so what year Christ was born in, what would you say?
6 BC.
Somewhere around there, 6 to 5. We know that it had to be before 4 BC. For what reason?
Herod's death.
King Herod. King Herod died in 4 BC. Herod was very much on the scene when Jesus was born. And so it had to be prior to Herod's death. More than likely coming towards 6 BC because of his age when Herod ordered
the 2 years and under.
2 years and under. Not that it's, all that drastically important. How did the shepherds learn of Jesus' birth?
No, the star led them. The angels
The
spoke.
angels. They
No, the stars led the Magi.
1 or 2 to a whole heavenly host.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know how much a host of angels is, but I'm going to tell you something. That must have been one more magnificent sight. Can you imagine? That had to be one more magnificent sight.
Frightening.
Sir?
Frightening.
Yes, exactly. You better believe it. It's kind of funny to me, Brother Eric, the folks that, I saw this angel yesterday and I saw that one the day before, and this angel came up and whispered in my ear this. Every that I'm aware of anyway, I don't know of any, I can't think of any exception off the top of my head. There may be one off the top of my head. I can't think of one. Circumstance in the scripture where men have been visited by angels, their response has been what?
Sheer terror.
Whenever you are visited upon by a holy being, and angels are sinless, the ones that sin are.
They work for the big L.
But the cavalier attitude that, and maybe there's something to be said for God moving and giving us inclinations of something and so forth and so on. I'll tell you a circumstance that occurred in my life this week. I was on my way to Rincon yesterday to pick up Canaan from school. I stopped. We get gas at the Flash Foods there at 95 because I had that little card that gives you 10 cents off on the gallon. Believe me, I don't gas up without using it. I drive 5 miles to get there to use it. But I pulled out of there. It was 5:15. Traffic on Highway 21 was bumper to bumper going towards y'all's house. There where you approach, Rice Hope is on the right, and there's apartments and stuff.
The original one is on the right, and the apartments are on the left.
That's right. There's a crossover right there where folks can make U-turns and turn left.
The original one.
There is, as I approached, and I don't tailgate anybody when I drive. I try to give him enough room to put on brakes if he needs to without me having to be in his trunk. And so there was a couple of car lengths between me and the guy ahead of me. There was a blue car that was making a left-hand turn across the median there. And as I was driving, I was going 55, everybody else was, or faster. But I thought, that man is about to pull out in front of me. He hadn't moved, but I knew he was fixing to pull out in front of me. When I left Flash Foods, that traffic was bumper to bumper. There would have been nowhere for me to change a lane. And I was as close to him, Sister Ann, as I am to you right now, and he came right out on me. And the only thing I knew to do, I got in the right-hand lane. And whenever I got in the right-hand lane, I thought, my gosh, where did everybody go? I was still in one piece. And I looked in my rearview mirror. I didn't have time to look before I changed lanes. I didn't even think to look. I just did it. When I looked in my rearview mirror, there wasn't a car any closer to me than the road out there. I don't know if God cleared them out of the way or stopped them all or what he did. But I know I don't understand it.
You was glad of it though, wasn't you?
I was glad of it. Well, I literally was so upset I had to pull off the
I
road.
know, something like that.
I know.
That's why I don't go on 21.
Because I knew that was it for me. And I was in old blue.
Okay.
And my truck was going to get messed up.
That would be a shame.
Of course, the good thing about that would have been it was made when they still made them out of metal.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that might have been good. But brothers and sisters, when we in our unholiness, I haven't even told Canaan that story.
Okay.
When we in our unholiness and our sin encounter holiness, that's not something we do cavalierly, lightly. That is, you know, the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah was an interesting character in the Old Testament. A learned man, a man of state. But even in his station in life, when he saw the Lord high and lifted up, and those cherubim and their wings, and the cries of holy, holy, holy. Isaiah's response, woe is me, for I am undone. I'm a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. You notice he placed himself first there. One of the most beautiful scenes in all of the scriptures to imagine to me. And I think there are great lessons for us to be learned in that passage. I'm going to preach through Isaiah very soon. We are. We're going to go through Isaiah. Now, there was an individual that came on the scene in the Christmas story, and he prophesied that Mary that the Christ child was destined for the fall and rising of many. He furthermore told Mary that a sword would pierce her own soul also. Who was that individual? Brother Eric?
Yeah, it was Simeon.
That was Sylvia. That's right. Oh, let's see.
Was he the one that said that God told him he would see the Christ child before he died?
That was him. That was him. That was him.
That's exactly right. Isn't that what a blessing?
I saw
He
that
did
in the
not
movie.
see
I
death
saw that in the movie the other night.
until he saw the salvation of the Lord. Let's see. There's some of this that's just, about tradition, our traditions and so forth, that give you just a moment to kind of flip through that. This is kind of interesting, and I did not know this, and this is not biblical. My wife likes to hang mistletoe in the house. That's all right. I like to kiss my wife. So she can hang mistletoe at every door thing if she wants to. I did not know this. We all know that whenever we meet under the mistletoe, the tradition is, that we kiss or whatever.
Of course.
The actual tradition, I think this part of it's kind of been lost in the years, that let's just say it's me and Anita and we meet under the mistletoe. Mistletoe has berries on it. Somebody tell me what color they are.
Red,
They're white.
white.
Like red, white, red.
Hmm? Ma'am?
They're dead white.
That's what they're white. Now, the tradition is that whenever I kiss my wife, I'm supposed to pull a berry off of the little thing of mistletoe. I have never heard that until I was preparing for this. Furthermore, the tradition says when all of the berries are gone off of the mistletoe, that it's to be discarded and fresh mistletoe put up. What kind of plant is mistletoe? It's a parasite.
Goes everywhere.
Exactly.
Is it like a kudzu?
Well,
No, it's
it's
not.
not that invasive, but it's a parasite. It lives off of other plants. How do you get it out of the tree?
Some people shoot it out.
Shoot it out. What's that, Sister Francis?
You put up there and get it.
You can, yeah, but if it, like, we have some in the pecan tree at our house. If I wanted some fresh mistletoe, I wouldn't do it here. Homeland Security, it'd be all over my house already.
Oh,
But if I lived out in the country, I'd get my shotgun and I'd go out and shoot me some down. Let's see.
You could ask little Charlie, when he was 8, he climbed up to the top of a tree in our backyard, because I said, gee, I wish we had some mistletoe.
Oh.
And came back down with this thing this big of mistletoe. I said, how did you get that down? Well, I just climbed up there and,
How cool.
I said,
all right.
You reckon he remembers that?
I don't know, I fussed at him enough about it, I'm sure he probably does. I was so surprised, I didn't even know he could climb.
This morning, you said fussed at him. I was made to remember when I visited Grace this morning. Miss Grace's grandson from Florida, who she had not seen for a year and a half or maybe longer, surprised her yesterday. Drove up here. They live out on the Panhandle somewhere. He told me the name of the town. I'd never heard of it. It was some small town out there. About 7 hours from here. And they just came out of the blue yesterday. And he didn't realize Bobby was in the hospital or anything. And so this morning when I saw Grace, I got to meet him. And she said, yeah, I think I've done about made him miserable. He's going to go home. All I've done is fuss at him ever since he's been here. He has a cough. And she said, the boy's got a cough and he won't go to the doctor.